favor, hit the like button and make sure that you share this video. SamAnt, we got an update on the Tekashi 6ix9ine story. Once again, as you were telling me in the pre-production, meeting, well, it appears that Lance Lazario, who was Tekashi 6ix9ine's lawyer, said that he's putting together a $1.5 million bail package, along with, he's going to take it to the judge and ask and try to convince them that Tekashi 6ix9ine is no longer a danger to the community, nor a flight risk. So initially they wanted to do 1 million. The judge shot that down. They, said he was a flight risk and all that. So the lawyer is now coming back saying 1.5. They're going to present this to the judge. SamAnt, what do you think? You think Tekashi 6ix9ine will be getting out soon or what?
No. And oh God, we talked about this a week ago or maybe a couple weeks ago now when we brought up the question, should 6ix9ine fire Lance Lazario and that lawyer team, because they seem to be too far out there when it comes to media and popularity. They were screaming out, free 6ix9ine, he'll be home soon, yada, yada, yada. I don't, and this is strictly off of common sense. If a judge sits there and thinks that you're a flight risk at $1 million, what the fuck makes him think you won't be a flight risk at 1.5? What's the extra 500,000 to him?
Right.
He don't care. You're sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they even put this out there, I think it's almost pretty pathetic. I think that a lot of people that went out there and try to put hope to this is almost pretty far-fetched. And I don't know, this more weird and weird by the minute.
Like we were saying earlier, though, we were talking about like all these different videos that keep coming out in these articles that, 6ix9ine buying his girlfriend a Rolex, and then it came out that he bought a Benz G-Wagon, $100,000 something car. And it's like a few weeks ago we heard about the feds freezing your assets. So why are you still like taunting the feds, still buying stuff and making these type of purchases when they got you for racketeering? That means doing illegal, business. You know what I mean? So they don't want you spending money like that. They want to hold on and freeze your asset. That's why you're sitting in jail, because they don't want you being able to access money and get the hell away, because you're facing life in prison. Remember that. It's crazy. What do you think about that, SamAnt?
The crazy part is who's pulling the strings on the information even getting out. Because we both know who.
Right.
And is that from 6ix9ine himself, or is that just something going on from a business deal? Because it really makes absolutely no sense. And who really gives a shit that he bought his girl a G-Wagon when he sits there fighting for his life for racketeering? Now, you see your crab-ass shows and your crab-ass platforms that'll put anything that involves his name up to try to grab 5,000-6,000 views real quick.
Right.
Because they ain't shit.
Right.
But when you really look at it, a lot of this information shouldn't come out. Yeah, no, we were very involved when it came to him getting initially arrested, finding out about the racketeering. A lot of the things that we found out eventually were incriminating him. We talked against it and was like, man, this is messed up, bop, 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 bop. Then we fell off. His girlfriend was getting her. We don't give a shit.
Right.
This, that, doesn't matter. But the fact that this keeps coming out, it's almost like, okay, one, is it real? And if it is real, you're stupid, because what money are you playing around with that the feds aren't about to grab or question or just keep you in jail even more?
They're coming to take that.
Because that's what a flight risk does. He goes out there and throws money around. So if you could do that, what makes you think you won't take a flight up out of here? You will. And secondly, it's either another poor, disgusting publicity stunt to try to keep his name relevant, and he's not buying his girlfriend all these things, and they're just putting it out on the media to keep his name relevant, because there's a business deal going on and someone needs to collect their money.
Wow.
And I'll be really concerned, or not really concerned, but really curious to hear if 6ix9ine is really pulling these plugs. He's going in jail. Like, yo, why the fuck is he still talking about me? Why are these outlets still saying the most wild shit? Don't they know I'm in here on racketeering? That's what most people would think. So it's like I said, this gets weirder and weirder by the minute. And more people are getting exposed by the minute.
Yeah, man, like Ho said, they hit you with that RICO. They RICO that vehicle. It was all good just a week ago, man. This is real talk. And people are experiencing that, right now. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth Podcast, the most underrated podcast in the world right now, with your brother Old God and SamAnt for viral hip hop news. Sitting over there across from me. If you're listening on YouTube, I need y'all to do me 2 favors. Always hit that like button and make sure that you share this video. SamAnt, the Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Your royalties, you pay them later. But the manager's sitting right there right after the show. They want the 20% right then and there. How you going to take 20% from me? This is an ASCAP venue, bro. I'm a union artist. I pay you on schedule. Every 2 months, 3 months, whenever the checks come out, whenever the royalty checks come, then I pay you, manager. You a struggling artist and you coming about your pocket. That's what happens to a lot of artists. They get hustle and flow like that.
Yeah, we was talking about remember the Tekashi 6ix9ine. I think we talked to you about that, and we seen that, you know, all his assets were frozen, but we see that they saying that he bought his girlfriend a G-Wagon and bought her a Rolex watch, which is a big struggle.
We talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Like, he's locked up and his assets are frozen. Speak on that, bro.
Hey, I don't know if you remember, guys. We did a show early, and I told you, 6ix9ine is not broke, bro. 6ix9ine ain't got no 1 point something in the bank, yo. That's for the public. He trust and know that an artist on that level that started. See, 6ix9ine started in a way that artists should start. He was an independent free market artist, and he was overseas. And he didn't have to deal with a label. Drake was doing it in the past. You didn't have to deal with a label. So the money that you make is based on the money that you give yourself accountable for. It's like the Rockefellers, no pun intended. The Jewish family, the Rockefellers used to say, control everything, own nothing. If I control everything, I don't need to have ownership papers. If I control that car, if I got the keys to that car, I don't need to put my name on the title. If I could drive it whenever I want to. So he has corporate entities in place that are generating revenue that just don't have his name on it. But he has control of it. He has control of the assets. There's a difference between assets and liabilities. And that's what he's doing. So when the artist says I'm bankrupt, they're protecting their assets. That doesn't mean they don't have money. 50 Cent claimed bankruptcy. He's not broke.
Right now, we talked about it yesterday on the podcast. Is it smart for him or for whoever is promoting and publicizing all of these gifts, expensive gifts, to be doing so, especially when you have federal attention on your ass and things like that? So how smart is that?
I wouldn't do it, but he can do it. I wouldn't say it's smart. No, I wouldn't say it was smart, but he can do it. Because if they can't tie him into it legally, then it's nothing they can do. Remember, RICO is the intent. It doesn't have to necessarily be legal that you're convicted. Remember, right now, Tekashi 6ix9ine has not been brought in on charges. He's being held under speculation of racketeering until his court date. So he's not receiving bail. So it's the intent. So if the intent is not blatant, and let me make that clear for people, when I say blatant, meaning that you're not assuming liability corporately for funds in order to purchase a G-Wagon. See, when someone might have loosely said Tekashi 6ix9ine purchased this girl a G-Wagon, well, it ain't saying that nowhere on the paper. Where does it say Hernandez or whatever his name is purchased this G-Wagon? Well, no harm, no foul. If he did, we can't do anything about it. So it goes both ways. If you're astute enough legally, you understand the legal system, yes, you can acquire assets without incriminating yourself. Yes, you can. It's done all the time. So, I mean, it's just understanding the laws.
Right. You see that his attorneys had set bail or said that they were confident that they'd be able to talk to the judge and get bail set at $1.5 million. How realistic do you see that being?
Very realistic. Very realistic. Because what's getting ready to happen as the case settles down and they're getting ready for court proceedings, it's gonna be closer and closer to a money thing. I mean, the way Tekashi is going, his situation, he'll probably do 3 years of sitting down. He's not going to do that long, but he probably will do some time. But he'll be given an opportunity to come back out and generate revenue to pay the courts. Because he's going to have to pay restitution when he gets out anyway. So they're going to let him generate revenue in order to do that. So don't be shocked if that comes to fruition.
Any chance of him beating the case? I know it's early. I might have to, I don't know how. I agree, but then I don't. Because he's like being painted as this leader, not a leader, but this gang member.
Yeah.
To the community. So yeah, they're going to let him go back into that persona, you know, of this gang member and make money and generate? Really?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that Tekashi 6ix9ine was making money as a gang member. I think that his affiliates who invested in him as a gang member created his demise. I don't think that he's the leader of that situation. But I do understand that he's part of a conglomerate that backed and supported him. You have other artists that had that same problem. They just didn't outlive their problem. Artists like Chinks had the same issues going on. He couldn't get out of the drama. 6ix9ine was lucky enough to get out of that. Because if he wouldn't have been locked up, you know, God forbid, he might not have been here. There's a strong possibility. So that's gonna be, the future's only gonna be able to tell that, oh God. But I will say personally, I think that Tekashi's gonna do some time. But I do think that he may be let out on bail since the court appearance isn't until a certain amount of time, and the lawyers may be able to set up a financing agreement for some of the debts that are owed, because he's still got other pending court cases at the state level that he would have to take care of, and they may allow it. They may allow it. There's a small possibility he may get out on bail.
Now, do the feds do they regulate are they allowed to look into how much he paid for his lawyer and stuff like that, or no? That's kind of like a part where they can't really get into that, right?
Yeah, they can't get into that. See, that's what I'm saying. See, he can have a lawyer as a trustee that cannot divulge his income or anything. They can do investigations and things only so far. So if he has it set up properly, then he doesn't have too many things to worry about. And see, we only know the fallout. But clearly when Tekashi went on the Breakfast Club, he knew he was going to jail. If you pay attention to his dialogue, he knew what was happening. That's why he terminated everybody. He was being advised to terminate everybody. He didn't do it. He didn't wake up and say, I need to do this. He was advised to do that. Just like he was advised to go on Breakfast Club. He didn't want to go on there. He was advised to go on there and say what he had to say, because he had to. This is the public move. We got to look at what we see down the line, coming up down the line. He had to prepare for that, and that's what he did. I think that he was fully aware, and I think that this was a process that was going on for a period of time. These guys have probably fell out for a long time. Probably had some issues going on for a while.
Help me understand this aspect of it. We all seen that bail was set at $1 million initially, and now it's 1.5. I said yesterday that really common sense would tell me that $500,000 really makes no difference. But as I hear you speak, it's more so about money now. So Is it just like, okay, now this turns into a business move, and we don't give a damn that you're just as much of a flight risk at the 1 million that you would be at 1.5, and just give us the money, or like just explain that to us real quick?
Yeah, it's turning into a money situation. It's not really the flight risk issue. It's turning into a money situation. And if he has the money and he has the ability to allocate it, then so be it. That I think he'll be given the small window. It'll be some strong contingencies. He may even be on house arrest. It's gonna be, he might not have much movement. He may be able to perform, because remember, they still released that album. See, it's a lot of telltale. Why would you release that album considering where he was at? So if the album is static and it's still rotating, it's still gaining, notoriety, he may be able to get out there and market and promote it, which is henceforth going to bring revenue in, which henceforth is going to benefit him once he goes back in, and upon him coming out, restitution. The attorney can argue on that behalf that this is the purpose for him coming out, to generate funds, because this is his means of living. So it's a slippery slope, guys, because the charge is racketeering that's pulling out other independent charges. So this is RICO. And in RICO, man, you could be just standing next to a guy and you got charges. So, and those charges have to be isolated and dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So he has individual charges that are conglomerate against him. So we really, really won't know until they actually start having another bail hearing. And I think it's scheduled pretty soon. I think that bond hearing is coming up. We'll definitely know from that bond hearing.
Yeah, Lord, right.